on TikTok. All right, this is our first time going for everybody. So I think we're hold on, let me hit Instagram. See, but then when I come here, I hit go live. Okay, here we go. We're good. We're good. I think we're good on all four platforms for the first time. Listen, if you are car shopping now or in the next 12 months, I want you to type me in the comments. No matter where you are, I want you to type me in the comments. We are we are live on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, as well as TikTok. Good to see you, Colette. Good to see you, Andrew. After you come in, we haven't done this in a while because I'm just getting back into going live. But if you've been with us for a little bit, you know we do a roll call. Where are you checking in at? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on what time. I see you, South Carolina. Okay. As you come in, if you're on TikTok, could you hit the like button and just, let TikTok know that we're going to be spending some time here. We're going to be talking about some serious money as you come in. If you could like the broadcast, if you're into financial literacy, this is the Auto Advisors. Like this, the name of this segment here is the Auto Advisors. We're going to be doing car Q&A. If you don't know me, this may be your first time seeing me. My name is Deshone. I'm publicly known as Deshone the Auto Advisor. I spent 14 years in the car business before I left in 2020 to focus on teaching people. I see we got Jacksonville, Florida. We got Houston. Okay. We got a couple hundred people on already between all the platforms. We have Philly in the house. I see you. As you come in, just get your questions ready. What I'm going to be doing is going over various topics and doing lots of Q&A. So we're going to be spending this time that, y'all going to hear me go from things like leasing versus buying to things like structuring your deal and budgeting, all with the goal of helping you get below market car deals. So as you come in, if you could tag somebody, I promise you, here's what's going to happen. If one of your friends finds out that you've been following me, following the channel, using what we talk about over here to save money on cars, and then you didn't tag them and they find out later, man, I found this guy, Deshone, he's on, and you're like, hey, yeah, I've been following him for years. And they're like, man, why didn't you tag me? Why didn't you share the wisdom? So I want you to definitely do that, and I guarantee your friends will thank you. So as we come in, let's get ready for Q&A. I just want to make sure I did all the housekeeping. My new digital book, Car Shopping for People That Hate Car Shopping, is on sale right now. It's 75% off for our launch, so it will be 75% off the whole time that we're on. If you're seeing this video, you can go to deshonesbook.com, get your copy for 75% off. It's a digital book, and it's digital for a reason, y'all. It must be. I got links in there. I got links to scripts that you're going to be using. I don't want you guys having unpredictable car buying experiences. I want to see you having very predictable, controlled experiences. And in order for you to do that, you have to know what to say. And so I'm going to be talking about all of that. We'll be talking about all of this while we're on. So let's get to the Q&A. I just want to make sure you know, if you're on TikTok, you could go to my TikTok bio, get your copy. It's on sale for a couple minutes for 75% off. And then if you're on Instagram, you could go to my bio. If you're watching online, you can go to Deshone's book, or you can scan the QR code. All right, so let's get into it. Let me just make sure I can see the comments on Instagram. Let's see if I go live here. And okay. Can you talk about this is Kira from TikTok. She said, can you talk about turning in a lease vehicle to another dealership to lease their vehicle? Very good question. We don't want to turn in lease vehicles without making sure we can't make any money on them. Some people have asked, do we have equity in every car? Equity is not in every car, but you do need to check if you have equity before you return your vehicle. Here's how we do it. We're going to call our bank. We're going to get our payoff. We need to get our payoff. You don't want the residual value, because the residual value doesn't include any payment you have, anything. You need the payoff. And what that's going to do is tell you the price that you could buy the car for. Now there's a customer payoff. Can we light up the likes on TikTok, please, so we could get some attention and let people know we setting people free financially. If you on YouTube, if you on Facebook, if you could like the broadcast and tag somebody, I promise they'll thank you. So the first thing we're doing, y'all, we're never returning our leases. We are never returning our leases without doing an equity assessment. We got to check to see if we have any equity in our vehicle. We get our payoff, and then we're going to get at least 5 cash offers. At least 5 cash offers. What does that look like? That means you're getting offers from Vroom's out of business. Driveway, you're getting offers from, and I'm gonna tell you, when you do this, if you are selling a lease, you must put no when it asks, is the vehicle a lease? You must put no. I'm going to tell you why. The way these companies are set up, they're set up to buy vehicles. But in 2022, 2021, when they saw us making all this money selling our leases, a lot of the auto companies got, the banks implemented what's known as a third-party restriction, which doesn't limit if you can sell your vehicle. It doesn't. It limits who you can sell it to. So we got to ask our banks, do I have a third-party restriction? And the way these buyers' websites are set up, the ones I just named, the Driveways, the Auto Nations, the Kelly's Blue Book Instant Cash Offers, these are people who literally inspect your car, give you a check the same day, CarMax, Carvana, and we must get offers from all of them. See, we don't realize, as y'all learn more about saving thousands effortlessly and easily, you're going to learn it comes through bids. It comes through bids. It doesn't come through giving one person an opportunity to buy your vehicle. We must get bids. When we let the market bid on our vehicles, we're going to win every single time. We're never going to worry about if we overspent. We're never going to worry. This is all in the book. So everything I'm teaching y'all on this live and in my free vid, it's all in my book, step by step, 75% off, get yours. But you have to know exactly what the market will pay for our vehicle. We must know that, and that's very easy to do. Go into these websites, getting these offers. Their offers are really good. They put their best foot forward. Sometimes the dealerships, which are Kelly's Blue Book, Instant Cash Offer, Auto Nation, they might try to, what they're trying to do is put a number online and see if they can stand by it. So we got to make sure we're very accurate when we tell people how much, what the condition is of our vehicle. But then we're getting offers. So if you get those offers, y'all, and you see that those offers are 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 more than your payoff, then that means you have equity. If it's 4 or 5, that means you have equity. And here's what you got to know. The customer payoff for our leases, when we're done, we're still talking about answering this young lady's question about what the lease in process is. She asks, should we return a lease and lease another vehicle from the same dealer or a different dealer? What I'm trying to tell y'all and get across to y'all is all of our transactions from now on, who we sell our car to, that's going to be different than who we buy our car from. See, y'all know that the car business has programmed us to give the dealership 3 transactions. We're going to buy a car from them. A lot of times we're going to trade our cars in, and then we're going to get our financing from them. What I'm telling y'all is, as you use what I teach and you really want to save thousands and thousands and guarantee your best deal, if you want to guarantee every time you get a car, it's your best price possible, type me in the comments. If you want to just type a G for guarantee. I want to know every time. In order for y'all to do this, we got to start separating our transactions. So I see you, Terry. I see you, Israel. I see you. Okay, so we all type in G's. This is what we must do to guarantee that we got the best price car. I see you, Father of Legends. I see you, Johnny Martinez. All right, we live on every platform. So when we are shopping, when assessing our equity is the first thing we do after we decide if we're leasing or purchasing. I'm telling y'all that in the steps of car buying, we got to know what order we do things. It's just like baking a cake. If we put the eggs in first and then we put the milk, and it said, no, don't put the milk in until, I don't know, you've let the thing sit for 10 minutes. You just put the milk in, it's not going to be right? So order is important. Shout out to the sharers. I appreciate it. And listen, I appreciate everybody who shares. I appreciate everybody who helps us spread this message. And in time, we're gonna do something great for the sharers, because we can't do this without y'all telling people about it. So this is the equity assessment. We don't worry about what car we're gonna buy yet. We don't worry about who we're gonna get our loan from yet. Here's why. Until we know what our equity position is, we don't know what we're doing. Example, if you run your equity, you find out you got $3,000. Well, that money is as good as cash in your pocket, or you can put it into your next transaction, or you can put half in your pocket, half into the next transaction. Y'all see why knowing your equity position is super important? Here's another reason. Let's say we have negative equity. Negative equity means we owe more than the car is worth. In my book, I talk about, and you'll hear me talk about it in my free videos, there's only 3 things you can do with negative equity. You can pay it off. I call it paying the difference. You take the highest offer. If it's like 2,000 or 3,000 different, you just pay it off and you're now done with it. No baggage. You can transfer it within limits though. So when you go to transfer negative equity over, this is where we get to the point where negative equity can either stop our deals or it can literally kill our deal. The bank is only going to approve a certain amount above the value of the car we buy. So let's say we're buying a $20,000 car. The bank's not going to approve 30,000, 40, 50,000. They're going to look at the price and say, wait, car's worth 20. We might lend 26, depending on the customer's credit, but we're not lending 30. We're not lending 35 on a $20,000 car, which means if you have 8 grand, 10 grand of negative equity, you can't transfer all of that over, because you're going above the loan to value ratios. This is why negative equity, knowing the cause, is important. And there's 2 causes. You don't understand leasing, and you're switching cars with loans on them. If there's an emergency, we understand that. I see y'all. Shout it out. We live. Literally, I see between all the platforms, we got about 400 or 500 people on here right now. So shout it out. Can we get the TikTok likes up? Can y'all keep tapping the screen on TikTok? Let's make some noise over on TikTok. But we're doing great. So this is why we can't move on. But I'm telling y'all, 99 times out of 100, I've been in the car business since 2006. I left in 2020. I left in 2020 and it hasn't changed. The cause of negative equity, 99 times out of 100, is you don't understand leasing. You buy cars, you're not keeping them long enough to pay them off and win with the depreciation. It's not just paying off the car. Some people say, oh, Deshone, I pay off my cars in 2-3 years. But your car's depreciated value is what you need to try to avoid. You need to try to avoid taking depreciation hits. And what y'all going to learn more from me is the 8-year rule. I've already done the math. I'm going to show it to you in time, if you just stick with us. But if you believe me right from the start, you're going to win. If you're not keeping cars 8 years, you're losing thousands of dollars not leasing cars. Does not matter how much you drive. Does not matter. Here's why. I'm gonna listen. Who was taught? Oh, all right. We lighting up the likes on TikTok. All right. I appreciate you, TikTok. Appreciate all of this. Let me ask you a question. Everybody on here. Who was taught never to lease cars? Be honest. I want you to type never in the comments. If you were taught never lease cars, if you've heard that from someone, I want you to type that in the comments. Here's why this is so important. This is all in my book. My book is called Car Shopping for People That Hate Car Shopping. It's a digital book. And for the grand opening, it's not a store. For the for the launch of the book, the official launch, we're doing 75% off for everybody. So you could go to my TikTok bio, you could go to my Instagram bio, you could go to deshonsbook.com, or you can scan the QR code and you can get your book for 75% off for a couple minutes. So we have a lot of people who were taught never lease a car, never lease a car. Let me tell y'all how much. I'm gonna give you a little sense on how much that's cost you, and then we'll go deeper. Everybody, let's say you're a person who keeps their cars until the wheels fall off. We call those cars keepers. If your next car is going to be a keeper, type K. That means I'm gonna keep this thing until the wheels fall off. I'm gonna keep this thing 8 years minimum, 10, 12, 15. That's what I do. I see you, Abby. Now, the benefit about buying a car and keeping 8+ years is you get to outlive all the depreciation. Your car loses X% of value the day you get it. And whether you drive it or not, if somebody came and parked a car outside your house right now and said, "Hey, this car is worth $30,000. It's yours." Now you say, "I don't drive. I already got a car. I don't need it." You come out a year later, is that car worth $30,000? You didn't drive it. See, this is your first, you didn't put a mile on it. You didn't touch it. It just stayed out there. It was worth 30 when they dropped it off. Is it worth 30 today, a year later? Exactly. Here's what I'm telling y'all. That's the first deep lesson on depreciation. See, if you get that, now you're getting the clue of why leasing is not about how much you drive. People who say, "Oh, I like to drive as much as I want to, so I buy my cars because I don't want to pay for the mileage." Here's the revelation. You pay for the usage of the car whether you use it or not, whether you drive it or not. It's going down. The more usage you put on it, the faster it goes down. So leasing is not a matter of how much I drive. Leasing is, if I get a great lease deal, we're going to talk about that. All lease deals aren't created equal. And these commercials we see that say, "Hey, 3,000 down, 8, these are not lease deals. I'm going to show y'all some lease deals over, I'll actually probably show y'all one in the next couple minutes. Great lease deals are not advertised. They're made in secret. No one really knows about them. The great lease deals are not advertised. Great deals are not advertised. Great deals are not advertised. So you can't judge the lease pricing by what y'all see in these commercials, or it's not going to make sense to you. But when you get great lease deals, it is no comparison. The name of the game is, will I pay less with a great lease deal in depreciation than I would pay if I purchased that car? That is the name of the game. And when I look and see, all right, if I get a great lease deal, I'm only paying 30% of the car's value, 35, 40%, 45%. But if I bought that car, regardless of whether I paid cash, regardless of whether I got a loan on it, the asset, the value of the car is going to go down by more than that. So what we're doing when we're leasing versus buying is we're trying to hedge against depreciation. We're trying to acquire a car that says, based on how I got this car and the price I'm paying for it over 3 years, it's thousands less than if I would have went and purchased that same car and just took the value of the depreciation. And this is what I'm telling y'all. They've hid you can't understand this when you're just tied into payments. And a lot of you know payments have nothing to do. Some of you who are a little bit more financially savvy, payments have nothing to do with the deal on the car. If you don't know that, you're going to learn that the more you hang out here. Payments have nothing to do with the price of the car, the deal on the car. That's just the financial tool. That's just what you've attached to the asset. If you go and you overpay $10,000 for the car, doesn't matter if you got a loan on it. Doesn't matter if you did no money down. You overpaid by $10,000 for the car itself. That's focusing on the asset. So leasing, y'all, is for people who don't keep their cars more than 8 years. It's that simple. If you do not keep your cars more than 8 years, you cannot outlive the depreciation that the car is losing. The money, you go out, slap 30 grand into a car. That car is losing money for you every single month. So you're trying to say, is there another way I could get a car where I'm not paying this kind of money? If I'm losing $500 of value every month in my car, is there a way that I can lose less than that? And what I'm going to show y'all is leasing is just the way. So these are the first 2 steps. The young lady asked a question about returning her lease, but I want y'all to know that that's step 2. We assess, can we make any money on our deal, on our old car? And then, but the first thing we got to do is decide buying versus leasing. Lease the loan. Good Time said, lease the loan car was good. Welcome to everybody that jumped on. My digital book, Car Shopping for People That Hate Car Shopping. Everything, it's 75% off. You can get your copy while we're on here, but we're going to be going deep on Q&A for at least, I'm not even watching the clock. So just go to my TikTok. I don't think you're going to leave the broadcast either if you go get your copy. Go to my TikTok bio, go to my Instagram bio if you're on Instagram, wherever you're at. If you're on YouTube, scan the QR code or go to deshonesbook.com and get your copy so that we can go deep on this. I don't want you trying to just remember everything that I'm teaching. I want you to have a reference point, and it's affordable for everybody. It's normally $97. Okay, let's go. Things are way too complicated to fix now. I guess you're talking about when it comes to cars, electronics. Another reason people don't feel as confident keeping their cars like they used to is because the cars are getting a little bit more complex. It used to be very simple for you to find a good car, keep it 10, 12, 15 years. There's still cars out there that you can confidently do that if you make sure that you're checking the reliability of the car, checking the longevity of the car. We do this on Google. We have to make sure the cars we're buying are good cars. Then we can certainly avoid, a lot of these cars. But yes, that is a lot of people don't feel as confident keeping cars long term as they used to. How about a lease to buy at the end compared to straight out buying? Cousin Al, that's a good question. He said, how about buying a lease to purchase? Who's heard of that? Who's heard that term before? A lease to buy on a car. You may have heard it with a house. If you've heard that, if you've heard that, let me tell you why that's a bad idea. We're mixing two strategies. See, there's nothing better than for the long-term person than us buying a long-term car, making sure we pay less than everyone else. That we're going to do that. We're going to get, you stay around me, you learn from what I do, what I teach. You're going to get below market car deals, new cars, leases, pre-owned cars. The best way to save the most money on a car is to buy it. You could decide new or pre-owned, it's really pre-owned, and you keep the thing 10, 12, 15 years. Because your cost per year is going to be so low. When you look at how much money you paid for the car over the long run, it's going to be like, wow, I only paid $2,000 per year, $500. The longer you keep. The second best way is buy a new car, keep it forever. Brand new, keep that thing 12, 15 years. But most people are not doing that. And if you're not going to do that, that doesn't mean you can't switch up. But if you say, Deshone, for my next car, can we keep sending the TikTok likes up? If y'all are enjoying this, could y'all please hit the like button? We got probably 400 or 500 people on here still. If you could hit the like button, that would be great. And I see all the gifts. Thank you. Everybody who's sending roses on TikTok, gifts and all of that, stars. Thank y'all very much. But what you got to know is, what is the strategy for this next car? Is that 8+ years? Then I'll buy it. There's nothing better than that. I'm going to buy it. But you got to realize buying comes with what, y'all? Maintenance, upkeep, repairs. That's what it comes with. But we win when we buy. We win 8, 9, 10, 15 years later is when we win with a purchase. You don't win with a purchase 3, 4, 5 years because the person who's leasing is paying so much less than you. If they got a great deal, they're paying so much less than you to drive a brand new car. It doesn't, like, you don't win. You can't win. But in the long run, you will. So you got to ask yourself, this next car, is it 8+ years or is it less than 8 years? And if it's less than 8 years, then I got to go to my lease strategy. And that could be for my, you know how many people out here, y'all, they're like, oh man, I buy my cars, I keep it till the wheels fall off. I'm not leasing. Yeah, but what about your spouse? What about your children? That car you buying for your 22-year-old college student, are you think they're keeping that car for 8 years like you are? No, probably not. Then you should be thinking about, you shouldn't even be thinking about, you should be going to the lease play for them. You know how many people have put their kids in a $21,000 car paying $500 a month, $20,000 Toyota Corolla, paying $500 a month because they wanted to buy them their first car, and they go get them a $20,000 Corolla that they could be leasing for $300 a month. And then that kid wakes up in 3 years and they're like, man, I'm paying $450 a month for a Corolla. I don't really like the car. Dad, plus it's kind of expensive. This is what happens. I've seen it millions of times. Some of you may have experienced this. Your first car might have been like that. Maybe your parents went and got you your first car and purchased it, but I'm telling you that if they understood leasing, they could, especially if you were going to pay the bill, they would understand. We're not keeping this car long enough. We should be leasing it. And so I'm going to keep hammering now. I'm never going to stop hammering because we got years and years of bad information that we got to unravel. People who've been doing damage, y'all. Big audiences, big platforms, just telling people, oh, leasing is the most expensive way to own a car. Guarantee you, if I had 10 minutes on them with a live and I bet them $100,000, are you willing to bet 100? Let me just ask you. You sound very confident when you're talking to the public. They don't realize how much money they're costing you. So my question would be, if I can show you that advice you're giving them is completely wrong financially, will you pay me $100,000? Will you take the bet? Because if you're willing to say that, stand on it. That's what they tell y'all. Exactly. He said that's what they tell us. See, and that's why I'm here. That's why it's very important what we do. That's why it's important when you share, when you tell somebody about these broadcasts, when you tell somebody, watch what they're doing over there at the we're coming in to unravel years of bad advice. And a big part of that is leasing. Not the only part, but a big part of that is leasing. But you cannot all lease deals aren't created equal, y'all. Lease deals are when we shop for lease deals, you must get bids. And I'm telling y'all, you must get bids for everything. We'll talk more about that as we continue to go on. All right, let's get to some more questions. Why are taxes added to a buyout when they're already included in the paid? Somebody said, Christina on TikTok said, why is taxes added to the lease buyout price when it's already included in the monthly payment? Well, it's only included in the payment for the portion of the car you're leasing. So when you're paying for, your 30, 40% of the car, 50%, the better lease deal you got, the lower percentage of the car you're paying towards over 3 years. That's what the tax is calculated on. That back end, which is when the car goes back to the bank or the next buyer, there's no taxes factored in on that. Depending on your state, sometimes they will put tax on the payment, but they're not usually. I don't recall ever seeing a case where they're taxing you on the whole car because you're not using that portion of the car. That's why when you lease, when you look on your credit report, you'll see the only part you're responsible for is the part that you're using. So even though the car might be 40 grand, it might say balance owed 18 because you're only responsible for that 14. You're not responsible for the back end. All right, we lighten up the likes on TikTok. Appreciate y'all. I see you, Lisa Vasquez. Welcome. Kat, I see you. All right, let's go. Let's continue to rotate questions. What happens to my down payment on the lease? See, a lot of people asking about leasing. This is good. This just goes to tell you something. A lot more y'all gonna lease when you understand it. In fact, when you understand it, your next car will be a lease. Quite honestly, unless you can guarantee me, Deshone, I'm keeping it 8 years. If you say, Deshone, I'm keeping this thing 8 years, you go ahead and buy it. Don't think about leasing. Go ahead and buy it. But if you cannot confidently say I'm keeping this car at least 8 years, and you're gonna learn, I'm gonna do a upcoming show where I show y'all my screen. So if you're on TikTok, make sure you're on YouTube or make sure you're on Facebook. If you're on Instagram, because y'all are not going to be able to see my computer screen when I actually go deep and show everybody, my screen and we compare. I'm going to show y'all the numbers because I'm not going to sit here and I don't want y'all thinking this is my opinion. This is by the numbers. So Good Time says, what happened to my down payment on the lease? So you should only do a down payment on the lease after you've already verified you got a great deal. Pay attention. This is very important. Once you down payments, y'all, never come into play until we verify we got a great deal. This is all in my book, Car Shopping for People That Hate Car Shopping, my digital book. You can download your copy. Go to deshonsbook.com. It's 75% off for a couple minutes. You won't leave the broadcast, but I don't want you to miss the opportunity. The book is great value at $97, But for our official book launch, we're doing 75% off. So you can scan the QR code or go to my Instagram or TikTok bio, get your 75% off book. So when you are doing a down payment, whether you're purchasing or whether you are leasing, it's critical that we verify we got a great deal on the car before we ever talk about payments. This has always been. How many of you have had this question? You're looking at a car and they say, hey, what do you want the payment to be? What's your goal? What's your goal for your payment? Type a $ if you've heard that question. What's your goal for the payment? Thank you, Say What. I appreciate all the compliment. I appreciate it. If you've heard that question, type a $. What do you want your payment to be? What's your payment goal, right? Here's why that's not important. And here's why you never feed into that. If you feed into that, you run the risk of focusing on the payment structure and not the price of the car. You also run the risk of focusing on the payment structure and not shopping for your own interest rate and letting banks bid on your loan. When we do an episode, we'll do a show that is about structuring our deals, and you'll see that when we start getting our financing, y'all, we never want to let anyone run our credit until after we found our car. Because what people are trying to do, y'all, is they're trying to run your credit and they're trying to give you a time limit. Now you have a hard inquiry, but you also have a time limit to go find a car. That's not good. They might give you 30 days or 45 days, 90 days before the approval expires. It's usually 30, 45. That's a problem because now we're out there rushing. But when it comes to down payments, we are only structuring our deals after we found our car. So I teach you how to get bids on your lease. Get bids on your lease, get bids when you're buying a new car. Once you find the dealer that gives you the lowest bid, now you come in and you see how you want to structure the deal. You must get bids first. And the way we shop for leases, I'll tell you about how we shop for purchases too, but the way we shop for leases, we must get all these offers because there's so much money that could be hidden in a lease. It's ridiculous. People would love for y'all to come in and lease and come in and say, oh man, Deshone said, I'm gonna start leasing. Now you go in and they structure you a lease deal. It looks better than a purchase, but it's still not a good deal. So that's why we gotta know when we are shopping for leases, we are always shopping offers with, here's how you shop them. This is in the book, but if y'all want to try to remember this, be my guest. You are getting your lease deals, your offers with first month's payment total out of pocket. First month's payment. Now look, when you shop for a brand new car, you are always getting your offers with tax, title, license, all fees included. When you shop for a brand new car, you're getting your offers from multiple dealerships. I do this online. You could call them. I would suggest you do it my way, but if you want to call them, you can talk to a sales manager and you say, hey, I got this car. I'm looking to see if you got something similar, but I need an offer with all taxes, fees, everything included. And now you're comparing that. But I would only talk to a sales manager if you're going to go that route. Again, in my book, I teach you the scripts. I got the emails that we use to do this because you want to use my words. But if you're not going to use what's in the book, you should be calling and asking for a sales manager and just give them an opportunity to beat the quote. That's a manual way to do it, but it's still better than you going back and forth with one dealer. We cannot go back and forth with one dealer anymore because when you start getting bids, mark my word, it's going to blow your mind when you see how overpriced some dealers are. When you see how overpriced some dealers are, it's going to blow your mind. So in order for you to shop your lease quotes, you're shopping your lease quotes with no money down. So good time. When you talk about what happens to your down payment on a lease, well, you're not putting your down payment down until you got a great lease deal. So you get your lease deal, first payment, and then you divide that into the monthly payment. into the MSRP. Very important. Let me give you all an example. Pull up my calculator. So let's say I got an offer of $500 a month on a $40,000 car. That's what's called a 1.25% lease. You take the monthly payment and you divide it into the MSRP. That gives you a percentage. The lower percentage, the better the deal. And this originated from some of who's heard me mention the 1.5% rule for bad lease deals. Type me if you've heard that. No, you don't have to tell them you're pre-qualified before you go. It's not even a question. We're just shopping for the price of a car. So you've heard, okay. Okay. So, see, and I looked at another question while I was in the middle of answering one. So, wait, we were talking about lease quotes. We were talking about, okay. Okay, that's right. The 1.5% rule. So when y'all hear me mention the 1.5% rule, I'm telling y'all, again, it goes back to the fact the lease, the name of the game with a lease is how much can I pay for a car over 3 years that I'm giving back? The lower, the better. So since the beginning of time, people who got great lease deals knew about the 1% rule. The 1% rule said, if I buy a car, if my lease payment is 1% of the MSRP or below, it's a steal. So if I'm looking at a $40,000 car and my lease payment on it, 12,000 miles per year, is $400 a month, no money out. No money. I know that y'all may have been taught, yo, you got to put money down when you lease. That is a lie. I'm going to be peeling back a lot of lies, a lot of misconceptions, a lot of bad belief systems that we picked up, and we're going to tear those down. So money down with a lease is absolutely not a requirement. So when we're getting our lease deals, example, 2018, I leased a 2018 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo. It was $35,000. I gave them $330 a month, and I drove off. That was my payment. 39-month lease. We'll talk about in the future. We don't do 4-year leases. We'll talk about that in the future. But that's the 1% rule. 1%. Now look at that. Think about value, y'all. You drive off the lot in a brand new $35,000 car, and you're paying $330 a month. That's under 1%. So these are steals. I call these steals. You ever see a lease deal like that? It's not a deal. It's a steal. Now, in order to get that type of deal, you need a great lease program. So we can't. So it's not just like, oh, every car has a 1% deal. No, if they don't have a ton of rebates, if they don't have a good residual value, if they don't have a good rate, then it's not going to happen. But in the long run, we can't control that. All we can control is how we're going to shop. And the way we shop is get your first month's payment. Is you tell every dealer, give me a quote with first month's payment, and put all the taxes and all the fees into the monthly payment. And then you let me know what that is. And you have to know the MSRP, because you divide that monthly payment into the MSRP, and that's going to tell you the percentage. If you see 1.35, 1.45, 1, these are good deals, really good deals. We still need to compare, because I got people who are getting, look, if we don't compare, you could be in trouble. You don't want to just take a deal. There are people who think, oh, I thought a 1.25 was a great deal, and then I end up getting 1.1. So we can't ever assume what's a great deal. We just have to know what a bad deal is. That's over 1.5%. They got me on one of my last leases. Listen, good time. Don't feel bad, man. It is something a lot of people are going to discover the more you work with me, that you have overpaid. But there's been no one to tell you. So there's been no one to tell you. So 1% still, 1% 5 is the max. Exactly, K-Dub. That's the exact formula and ratios we use for measuring great lease deals. 1% or lower is a steal. Between 1% and 1.5 is a deal. That's great value compared to purchasing. So when someone drives off the lot with a great value lease, 1.25, anything under 1.5, they're paying less than someone who purchased. They're paying less than someone who purchased. Once you get above 1.5, you're now going close to you're spending the same amount as the person who bought the vehicle, which we don't want, which we can't do. We eliminate the benefits of leasing. And some lease programs y'all are going to see are bad. You shop multiple offers, and the lease programs are bad. We can't get those leases. I will never co-sign because leasing is a value play. I will never co-sign you getting a car because you like the car a lot and overpaying for a lease because the lease program is bad. Sometimes, I want a Range Rover Velar. The lease program is bad. All right, well, I'm gonna go get a Genesis GV870, and then maybe in 3 years the Range Rover lease program will be good. But right now, I'm not gonna do it because no one loves a car that they're leasing. You always just like it. If you're leasing, you're switching cars every 3 years. You don't love anything. When you love a car, you buy it, you keep the thing 10 years. That's love. But typically, a person who's not keeping their car long term, you get, you 3 years, you're like, okay, I could get another car. 5 years, people who buy cars to keep, they don't think like that. Like they ain't even looking for a reason to get rid of it until, transmission goes out. And then I always joke because as a keeper, what do you do when the transmission goes out? If anybody on here has bought their cars and kept them till the wheels fall off, when the transmission goes out, what do you do? What do you do? See, you're not a keeper. You're not buying a car to be a keeper. That transmission go out, you ready to get rid of it. You ready to get rid of it. Look, a lot of people are like, no, I go fix it. I go get another transmission. Exactly. All right, let's keep the questions moving. Welcome to the people who just jumped on. Happy to have you. If you're enjoying the broadcast, could you please make sure you are subscribed to us on YouTube? That's where we're going to be able to share really when we get into, which is coming very soon, I'm going to be sharing visuals for y'all to see. Just sharing a variety of things, websites that we use, things you want to stay away from, website, like all in my book. But in time, you're going to want to see it on YouTube because you might not be able to see it on Instagram or TikTok. What's the MSRP equivalent for used cars? F Broncos asked. Here's what who's purchased a used car? Type a U. If you purchased a used car before, type a U. Type a U if you've purchased a used car before. Okay, I see Al Boogie, I see FL Bronco, I see Amor, I see Justine. Okay, every platform. Ebony Eyes. Okay, Larica. All right, I'm gonna give y'all the biggest. This is gonna be major, y'all. And you're gonna see like, wow, how the heck could we even know we're getting a good used car deal without knowing this? Tell y'all how important it is to have the original MSRP of the car you're purchasing. So I have a 2020 Infiniti QX60 truck. I bought it a year ago. It was 3 years old. Now I saved 42% off the price when it was brand new. Here's why it's important. We don't know when we're shopping on these used car websites. I call them marketplaces. Y'all are going to see in my book, if you do get my book, or even in my videos, you'll hear me talk about the multiple marketplace strategy where we're on these used car marketplaces. We got to be on all of them. But here's what they try to sell you on, because it's based on who's paying them. They're trying to sell you on market value. They're the true way to buy a pre-owned car, after you check to make sure it's a good one. But I'm talking about, how do we know we got a great price on it? We must know how much it was brand new. We must know how much the car was brand new. Give you an example. I was looking at this Infiniti truck. I had narrowed it down to my top 3 or 4. I think I narrowed it down to my top 4. Now they're all white. They all look similar. They're all in similar price points. How do we choose? This is where we usually are stuck. And this is where we usually make a bad decision. I'm going to tell you why. I get the MSRP of these cars. By the way, my special strategy for getting the MSRP, one of them is to go to the dealer's website. Most dealers have a contract with Carfax, and that car will be on their website. That's my first line of defense. Again, everything I'm talking about, y'all, I don't hold back. It's in my book, or it's going to be in my free videos. But some people want everything in one spot. One spot, step by step. That's what the book is. 75% off in my bios, or go to Deshone's book or scan the QR code. So I look and I pull the MSRP, the window sticker for all of these vehicles, and what do I see? The 4 vehicles, the original price of them, one is 46, one's 48, one's 52, one's 54. Why is this so important, y'all? They've taught y'all to buy used cars based on what? Nothing. This is what we're asking for the car. Okay, I think I see some less than that. If all of these cars were 31,000, but one was 54, that's the best deal. In fact, none of those other deals are even close. That car right there has more packages in it, more equipment in it, special features in it. Those other cars don't. So the percentage of the discount that I'm getting off the car is higher here. Does not matter what the dealer's asking for the car. See, we've been taught you go and you focus on trying to get the dealer's price down. That is true in some cases. But what's more important is I need to know, based on what the dealer's asking for the car, how much off MSRP, original MSRP, am I actually saving? Is it 30%? Is it 40%? Because I might look at this car here and yeah, they might be asking $1,000 less for it, but the original equipment in that car is $5,000 less equipment. This is why it's very important. It's critical. I would not buy a used car, and I would never recommend you buy a used car without seeing the original MSRP, so you know, one, what's in the car, what features it has, but more importantly, I cannot determine who saved me the most money. I can't determine who gave me my best deal without knowing what the car was originally priced at from the day it came into the country. And y'all, unfortunately, and I hope it's nobody on here, but unfortunately, we probably do have it where during the pandemic, people were paying 90, 95, 100% of value for used cars. When I mean a Toyota Camry that brand new was 30, they were paying 29 for it, and it was 3 years old. See, I call this true value percentage, TVP. Y'all are going to hear this. We call this true value percentage. We can't look at a used car. See, once we see, wait a minute, based on the new price, the car when it was new, you charging me 95% of the car's value, and it's 3 years old. Once we start looking at true value percentage, car was brand new 30, you asking 25. Okay, you knocking this percentage off. This is how we make sure. Now look, that doesn't help us get quality cars. That doesn't help us stay within our budget. We'll talk about that in the next hour. Because what I'm going to be doing is I'll be doing these shows throughout the day in hour segments. So what you'll see is every time I come, we'll do if there's something that we want to tie up, we'll try to do it in both hours. Again, it's very tough to go over all things and then do Q&A and just get it done in a couple minutes. So some things may continue to the next hour, but once y'all get this, it doesn't change. So although, some of this might be brand new to you. I'm sure it is for a lot of you, having a system for how you shop, boundaries. But once you see how this thing works, it doesn't change. That's why I could write a book. That's why I have a library of videos that are step-by-step. The step-by-step version of my book is the Cars from Home video library, because I know we're so ahead. The car business is so old. I don't have to worry about this changing in the next year, 2 years. If anything, like Vroom went out of business, we adjust that. I might adjust that one section because Vroom's not in business anymore. But the way we teach you to purchase cars to guarantee you pay less than everyone else, to guarantee you save the most money on your loan, to guarantee you get the most money for your old cars, that's not going to change because we are just too far ahead of what the car business is doing. Welcome. Blessed said, I'm new here, been watching your shorts. Great job, homie. Good looking out. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. If you're not subscribed yet on YouTube, could you make sure you subscribe? Everybody who's on any other platform, if you could subscribe to us on YouTube, that's where we'll be, able to put a lot of our widescreen stuff so y'all can see. We're gonna teach, but what y'all gonna see, even in the book, it's not teaching and then you're trying to memorize it. It's just shop different. When you shop different, you'll see, oh, this is a better way to shop. And then you're gonna learn by doing. It ain't learning by memorizing. Hey, thank you, Sonny. Said just purchased my ebook. Thanks for sharing. My pleasure. Everybody could get it for 75% off in my TikTok bio or my Instagram bio, or you could go to deshonesbook.com or scan the QR code, no matter where you're at. Let's see. I'm new here, but hold on. I got that. Hold on. Let's go. I still can't see the questions on Instagram. For some reason, I can't see the questions on Instagram. We got to figure that out. Now, here's what I will say. If you stay on long enough, somebody's going to ask you a question, because a lot of you, it's going to surprise you, but I know it. We've been working with people long enough to know a lot of you have the same situation, literally. So you stay on, even if you don't, your question doesn't get answered, you'll hear somebody say, oh, that's the exact same situation that I'm in. Josie said, I really need help. I'm interested in buying a 2001 H1 with 70,000 miles, 75,000. Should I go for a 40,000 of 50K? I don't really understand that. I really need help. I'm interested in buying a 2001 H1 with 75,000. Should I go for 40 or 50K? So I'm guessing you're saying I'm buying a 2001 Hummer with 75,000 miles, or either is that asking price is 75,000? Should I go for 40 or 50K? No, we go for whoever wins the bid. See, we can't get into, here's where this could hurt us sometimes. You know what we do? We save a certain amount off the price of a car, and then we want to carry it to our next deal and say, well, we should save the same amount on this car. No, because we don't know what the programs were that allowed us to save 7,000 off that car. And I'm talking about new. Pre-owned cars, this is different. Pre-owned cars, you go to the market and you see who has the lowest car for the money. So we're not going local. It's two favorite words, y'all. And some of you, let me see who's been with me for a minute. See if anybody knows. What's my two favorite words when it comes to saving money? And again, this is, I haven't been live and we haven't done this in a, does anyone remember favorite words? Y'all wouldn't know on YouTube, I don't think, unless I used to say this a lot on TikTok. Oh, Alicia said they got kicked out of Instagram. Okay, so come on over to TikTok. All right, it still says we got a lot of people on Instagram, but that's good to know. Okay, we'll check that out. Does anybody remember my two favorite? All right, anyway, I'm gonna tell y'all, and now y'all will know this going forward. And I want these to be your two favorite words: multiple offers. Multiple offers. Very important. When I tell you, when you make multiple offers your two favorite words, you are going to save so much money. It's crazy. So I'm not buying something and there's only one of them out there. I don't have anything to compare it to. That'd be like me walking into the grocery store and I want chips. I really want some barbecue chips. And I go into the aisle and it's only one brand of barbecue chips. Wise Barbecue is the whole store. Now, I don't know if they're charging me a good price because I don't have anything to compare it to. They might say, oh, bag of chips, $4.99. Is that good or not? Well, we don't know. But when I see all the other options, same thing with spaghetti sauce. I need to see all the options. Same thing if some of y'all were buying a TV. If you had to buy a TV right now, if you had to buy a daggone 100-inch TV, are you worried about overpaying for it in this day and age? No, because you know, man, I'm going to go to Amazon, I'm going to go to Best Buy, I'm going to go on this Walmart.com, and by the time I see some options and see what they pricing at, I'm going to be able to choose the best one in 10, 15, 20 minutes, right? That's what comes through. That's price confidence. That's called price confidence. And the only way to have price confidence, to eliminate that feeling of, oh, did I overpay? You think I paid too much for this? Is to learn multiple offers, multiple options. So what you should be doing, Josie, is looking at so many H1s, wherever they are, that I know I'm not going to overpay because I see them all. I see where the price, and I'm going to teach y'all, this is in the book, and I'll teach y'all in my video. We set up accounts when we're shopping for a new car, because once we know where the prices are, we want to be alerted every new car that pops up, every single used car that pops up, you want to get alert on it. You want that thing coming to your email the minute they post it, because everybody else is not going to be able to move on it because it's too fast. They need time. They need to, oh, let me see it. Okay. But if you know the used car market, like I'm going to teach you, if you know the low prices on this car is 40, the high prices is 55. Soon as that one pops up at 41, you don't have to hesitate. Speed is what gets people deals a lot of times, y'all. I've sat in front of people and I'm literally offering them, and this is back when I was in the dealership, and I'm literally offering them, like, the dealership is making no money. That's how good of a deal it is. And I'm like, listen, miss, like, I'm just telling you, we're making no money. We gave you everything. But they didn't take it. And I'm gonna tell you why. I can't blame them. They didn't have enough other offers to feel confident that what I was giving them was the best. That's the problem. So in order to have price guarantee, price assurance, for us to know that we are paying less than everyone else, we have to see multiple offers. And then in order for us to guarantee that we have not, that's just what it is. Price assurance comes through multiple offers. And then we have to get a quality vehicle. Okay. So all of this I will teach. It's hard to get, maybe like a lot coming at you at once. That's why I would love for you to get the book, Car Shopping for People That Hate Car Shopping, so you could dig into it, so you can see that everything I teach is methodical. I don't want you trying to remember this. Get the book, take your 75% off for the launch of the book, and then dig in and you'll see, wow, he has this thing set up in systems so that I don't have to be trying to remember what to do. I don't want y'all trying to remember what to do when you're out here shopping for your car. I want you to have a roadmap, a blueprint, and that's what 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships is. Thank you, Curtis. Appreciate it. 10-4. Oh, 10-4. Thank you for the guidance. It's a rare vehicle. If it's a rare vehicle, that's fine, but you don't want to overpay for a rare vehicle. You need to see enough of them to know that you're not overpaying. You don't want to sit there. You know how many people got a rare house? Your value's down. You know, I got a rare house. So if the value is going to be down, think about it. If it's rare buying, then it's rare selling too, which means your market, when you go to sell it, if you go to sell it one day, it's not going to be huge. That's not a car you can sell in 24 hours. Unless you just want to blow it out price-wise. But in order for you to make sure you don't lose, you got to make sure you buy right. You can't overspend by 10, 15 grand. So just make sure any H1 in this country, you know the price of it. That's all. If I see one over, it could be all the way over on the other side of the country. If I see the price, then I know what the market is. It doesn't matter if it's over there. If they're asking 10 grand less and it's a good car, has great service records, has great title history, has great accident history, doesn't matter. That shows me that's the market price. All right. Thank you, Josie. I'm glad. Enjoy it. You're going to be able to get to any car you want, and you have so many strategies in there for later. If you're buying a used car now, it's in there. If you're going to be leasing, it's in there. If you're going to be buying, you're going to know, all right, man, I want to get a lease for my spouse, or hey, you know what, I'm going to get a lease for my kid. Or you just might buy everything. But sometimes you might want to buy brand new. Sometimes you want to buy pre-owned. It's all in there. Different strategies for how you get to below market deals on each one. Uncle John said, who currently has the best lease program? It's no way to tell. Unfortunately, there's no way to tell. You cannot shop. That's the bad part. That's why when we shop, y'all, it takes us about Takes us about 45 minutes to an hour to find out where the market is on a car, what the best offer is. Once you get good, like I said, if you're doing it the slow way, you could call sales managers. You get one lease price, and then you call a sales manager and see if they can match it or beat it, or beat it rather. But if you want to do it the fast way, I go through the websites. I contact the dealers through the websites, tell them exactly what I want. We do this for 25 dealers, and then you use my scripts of telling them what you want by email, getting the quotes, and you'll know in a matter of an hour, hour and a half where those offers are. But there's no other way, because again, great deals aren't advertised. They're not going to advertise great deals. They'll advertise lease offers where they make money. Hey, bring us 35 grand. Bring us 3,500 plus taxes and fees, and your payment's $479 a month. Yeah, but you're putting down 6 grand to get there, and then no, those are not good deals. You're paying too much for a car you're giving back. So yeah, and so we'll cycle through various topics. We spent a lot this hour talking about leases, talking about leasing versus purchasing, and hitting a couple things. But what y'all will see is we'll do themes kind of each hour. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna come back for the next hour, and we'll probably still stay on it, but we'll be able to get through more questions, because as y'all can see, some of these questions require a little bit more deeper answer, just as if you were purchasing a house. I know they've made it seem like, oh, well, let's just ask a simple question and then let's just, it should be a super simple answer. Not when we're purchasing houses, right? It's never simple when we're purchasing houses, when we're getting mortgages, when we're investing. Why would it be simple when we're buying $20 to $50 to $100,000 vehicles that depreciate, that lose us money whether we drive them or not? That's danger. You got a real lesson on the dangers of depreciation in this hour. Like, ridiculous. You drive a car, buy it, park it outside, come back in a year, car's worth thousands less. You never drove it, never got behind the wheel one time. So when you have that type of product and you're coming into your household, it can drain you of money if you don't structure your deal in a way where you've minimized your losses. The name of the game is to minimize the amount you're losing on these cars. Cars are depreciating assets. You can't make money on them. We did have a wave for years where we were making money on cars, but that's because the resale values of these cars, it was a once in a lifetime historic moment when all of our cars were worth 12 grand, 8 grand, 15 grand more than what they would normally be worth. So, those who cashed out did very well, and we were part of the group who were really spearheading, helping people cash out while the market was high. But unfortunately, people bought while the market was high too. So this is, we'll be talking more about these things every hour. So lease good for bad credit. Now, what you're going to have to do is set yourself up. If you can't qualify for a lease and you should be leasing, then now your goal is to now get prepared to lease. That might take you a year or two. And we're going to talk about how we buy an inexpensive car to get set up for a lease. We don't go out and buy a $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 car when we know credit's not where we want it. But if you give me a year or two, I'll get myself up to a 650, 670. I'll use an inexpensive car to build a good payment history, because I'm paying more for interest because my credit's not good. So the last thing I want to do is buy an expensive car and have a higher interest rate. Now, when I go to switch out of that car in 2 years, because I'm ready to get my brand new lease, now I got 10 grand of negative equity. That's now, first it was credit stopping me from getting the lease. Now I got too much negative equity stopping me from getting the lease. These are two things we want to avoid when we're trying to set ourselves up. And the way we do it is we make sure we buy the least expensive car we could get a loan on. We want the smallest loan possible. And then we get a reliable car, and our plan is to switch out of that car in 2 years. Make the payments, pay the higher interest, but that's okay, because in 2 years, I'm driving something brand new off the lot and I'm leasing it. So that might not be the ideal car. In fact, it shouldn't be. But some people go and say, well, if I got to do that, man, I'm going to go and get the Dodge Charger with the Hemi engine, and now you buying a $30,000 car, 25,000, and you're putting that interest on top, and now you're buried. So you're not going to be any closer to getting a lease in 2 years than you are today. We don't want that. You got to bite the bullet. And if you got a ton of money, I'll show you how to get it done, and you can get a little bit of a nicer car. If you got bad credit, but you got 10 grand, you don't have to get a $10,000 car, but we need to work these things accordingly, because the key is a small loan, reliable car. That's the key. Okay. TikTok's telling me my live's going to end in 60 seconds. Okay, so we will be back. Y'all are going to see, like, this is going to be what we do, especially during the book launch. My new digital book, Car Shopping for People That Hate Car Shopping, has everything in it I teach. Y'all know from my videos on social media, I don't hold back information. But if you want everything in one place, in a step-by-step written format, this is where you get it. It's called Car Shopping for People That Hate Car Shopping. 7 steps to saving time, money, and avoiding dealerships. And that's going to allow you to take what I teach, mastering the art of shopping from home, mastering making dealers and banks bid against each other for your business, and so that you can be confident. But please make sure you subscribe so that you can get, and if you're on our email list, you'll get notifications of when we go live, so that you can make sure you jump on. If you're in the market for a car, we want to make sure you are armed with everything you need to save tons of money. So thank you, We West Coast, a lot. Appreciate you. Instagram, we're gonna get y'all involved, because somehow I'm seeing some of the questions and some not. Now the questions on Instagram popping up. That is so weird. But I trust that y'all got value, because again, many of you do have the same questions. So we'll be back in the next hour. You'll get a notification if you're on our email list. Jump on. But if you get your book, I hope you enjoy it. I can't wait to hear your success stories, and I'll see you shortly. Oh, and if you need the book, it's in my TikTok bio. Some people are saying, where do I get the book? It's in my TikTok bio. Click the picture. It's in my Instagram bio. Go to the bio. Click the picture. If you're watching on or you could go to deshonesbook.com, or you can scan the QR code depending on where you're watching. So, all right. See y'all soon.